Welcome back to Hunter x Hunter 2011 anime review. This is part 4, and this is my final thoughts on the anime. Um, what would the anime do if it ever came back, and a short review of chapter 364 for the Hunter x Hunter manga. Let's start with my final thoughts on the anime. The anime itself was really good. I love the opening theme for the show. It even when I switched to sub, the anime theme pretty much stayed the same, despite the fact that the visuals changed then whenever arc gets in. But generally, um, same song, Release. It's a great song to open up the show, and unlike with Naruto, after a couple times of hearing it, I just simply just skip straight to the episode. I just love the opening theme so much, I actually listen to it every time I watch an episode. Now, it's something though a series like Hunter x Hunter ended after only 148 episodes, which that's roughly, from what I can tell, around book like, I'd say 30ish. I'm not really sure exactly how far the manga the manga was adapted because I think it was up to about chapter 344. That's as far as that's far as the manga was adapted. I don't really know why they decided to stop after that particular amount of episodes, and the way that the anime ended, it set up the Dark Continent arc, um, which is currently kind of going on right now, but it's mainly just a prelude. It's just basically getting to the continent itself. That's mainly the whole point what the manga is doing right now. But yeah, the way the anime ends, it just sort of abruptly ends. Um, but yeah. Hush! Clifford! Take care of it. Take care of him. Okay. Yeah, the series has interesting moments, like when Gon and Killua first met Kite's associates. When Kite introduced them, basically said that Gon is the son of Gin. They were all shocked, and they were also shocked that Killua was a member of the Zodiac family, which is basically a family of assassins. Yeah, he says he's basically he doesn't do assassin work anymore. He's basically just a hunter, and that was just a great way of sort of. It was just a great moment. Basically, everyone's shocked. I mean, meeting the son of a guy that they have a high respect for is a great neat moment, and it's also nice when they introduced Meryl and Karoff. When they introduced those two, Madara was basically a dick to Killua when he was first introduced in the anime, which is kind of how he is. Of course, later on, he became a very good ally and friend to Killua and Gon. And as far as I can tell for him and some of the other characters introduced in the Kamara Ant arc, who did show up for the election arc, they, as far as I can tell in the manga, have not reappeared yet. I'm hoping they might reappear. It just depends exactly what they want to do. But the anime didn't have any filler per se. It just basically adapted chapter. It had a couple bits of filler here and there, but it wasn't like with Naruto. They had a whole season of filler. Yeah, but overall, it's a great anime, and I do have one big criticism of it. Why in the world did the dub take 2 years after the show ended for it to start? Which honestly, in itself, makes no sense at all for it to do. I mean, if you look at, let's say, Naruto, when it had started its dub, and same thing with Bleach. It started roughly about 2 years after the anime first started. Though for Yu Hakusho, it was basically like 10 years after the anime started when it decided finally to dub into English. But in the case of Hunter x Hunter, for some reason they decided to start dubbing this thing last year. Which honestly itself makes no sense. If you were going to start dubbing it, my personal suggestion was start dubbing in 2013 when it basically was doing the Chimera Ant arc. That would have been a great time to start dubbing it, but no, we decided to start dubbing it 2 years after the show officially ended. I don't really know why they thought this was a good idea, but Madhouse themselves did a fantastic job animation-wise when it comes to this particular series. Yeah. Not much else basically. Super final thoughts on it. Just a great anime. Sad to see it end the way it did with with an arc basically that was only just 12 episodes, not very long. It took me just a day to get through it. The current end arc in the manga took 5 years to come out. Yeah, it's a long arc. It's like almost 100 chapters. The reason why that is because the writer was known for taking frequent hiatuses. His last hiatus prior to recently was just about last year. But yeah, um, all the arcs are really good. I have no problem with any one of them. The voice acting is great. It's just that basically that when I jumped on it, the dub basically was 56 episodes in, while the anime itself had already finished up 2 3 years prior, a couple years prior. Years prior to the actual start of the show, a few years after the show ended. If the show ever came back, my personal guess is it probably would continue adapting the manga. It probably won't take too long to catch up with the manga. It'd probably take it, maybe a couple seasons, maybe, just to catch up with it, because roughly it's only been like 20 chapters since the end of the election arc. Yeah, roughly like 20 chapters. So how long would that take? Roughly maybe one season at most. It would just basically depend exactly when they want to basically resume doing the anime. Could the anime come back? It's a possibility. Because it's only been just 3 years since the anime ended, unlike with Bleach where it's been 5 years. And of course Naruto Shippuden ended just this past March. But yeah. But the only thing I think that the anime probably would do is just adapt the current arc that's going right now. Pretty much starting with chapter 365, 345, start from there, and then go up to probably the most recent chapter. But the obvious question is, how long would it take to catch up to the most recent chapter? I honestly don't know. If I were them, I would just do one chapter have each episode adapt one chapter. That is just my personal guess of what it would do. That's my personal guess anyways. Sorry, my nose itches. But yeah, that's the only thing else that's just it would do. Yeah, but it could be a possibility. Could my house do it? Maybe. It just depends what they want to do with it. Alright. Not much else to say about it, but yeah. If it ever came back, just probably adapt the 20 most recent chapters released in the manga. Now for my short review of chapter 364 of the manga. Roughly, this arc is moving at a snail's pace. It's like, seems almost kind of like half the time like not much happens. Like in this most recent chapter we see Kurapika with his chain thing taking on one of the other bodyguards who is about to kill the female prince. I don't really remember her name. And he protects her, and he sort of interrogates him exactly who was behind all this. And the guy basically decides to take a cyanide capsule in order to prevent, basically, figure out who the mastermind is. There's a little bit of progression here and there, but it's roughly, I mean, the chapters have been interesting so far, since the manga came back roughly like just a few weeks ago. So basically, in the past 4 chapters, not much has happened at all. This is from what I can tell. And I tried to basically read the best I can, try to get everything. But it just seems like not much happens over the course of these past few chapters. I mean, I would say 361 kind of basically was good introduction to the princes. But the past few chapters, it just moves at a very snail's pace. And especially with the previous chapter for this one, I just couldn't recognize anybody at all. I mean, I get the fact, yeah, you want to introduce new characters, but throw in some familiar characters. Laurent Kurapika, basically, I was very happy to see him because I just recently watched him in the anime. And also, he also is wearing a different attire than usual. He's no longer wearing his clan attire, he actually is wearing a suit, which is something he started wearing during the election arc. And simply put, he started his own bodyguard business. Yep. Gon has simply gone home. Killua has gone traveling with his sister. And Leorio is traveling with Kurapika on this ship that goes on its expedition to the Dark Continent. I do enjoy the fact that the anime did show off the Dark Continent in the last episode of the series. So it teased it, but we're probably not going to get an adaptation of the Dark Continent arc, or at least the 20 most recent chapters since the election arc ended with chapter 364. I think in the books wise, the election arc took maybe a couple books just to basically put out. That's my personal guess, anyways. In the case of the manga books, however, the most recent book that had come out when I had started reading the manga was roughly book 33. 34 had not been released yet at all, and the manga only started back in 1997. So roughly this manga has been going on for the past 20 years, and it's only released 364 chapters. Now, if it was published on a consistent basis for weekly for the past 20 years, it would have published a lot more chapters. Look at, let's say, One Piece. One Piece is published for 18 years, and it's almost published, like, probably by this time next year, it would probably publish, like, 900 chapters. But not Hunter x Hunter. Nope. The reason why it's only published 364 chapters is because the writer loves taking frequent hiatuses. Though the most common reason is due to his back problems and the fact the guy can't deal with stress. The most common rumor is the fact that he plays lots of Dragon Quest. That is the biggest rumor of what basically he does during his hiatuses. Though some people also suggested that maybe that the manga should switch from a weekly basis to a monthly basis just to give him a little more time. Look at, let's say, Boruto. Boruto's worked out well. Being come out monthly basis, basically it gives, like, even though it's not written by Kishimoto, it's basically sort of, well, he's sort of basically the guy basically comes on some of the ideas, but actual work on the manga is done by one of his assistants, who basically was the script writer for the Boruto film. So at least the guy who's currently writing the Boruto manga is familiar with basically the material. If you look, let's say, Dragon Ball Super, which is done by Toriyama, it's on a weekly basis like Dragon Ball originally did. It's come out on a monthly basis, and it's only released 26 chapters so far. 26 just came out. But that's the most common suggestion that maybe the Hunter x Hunter manga should do. Another suggestion is having his wife, who is the creator of Sailor Moon, have her do the artwork and him focus on the writing, just so it can come on a weekly basis, just so it can come on time, and so also the writer, also that he can also basically stop taking these hiatuses. Now, I have heard basically when it comes to these manga come on a weekly basis, they roughly try to work on 3 chapters a week. That's roughly how it works. That is just how it is over there. Though I have heard most of the time these manga writers are nearly worked to death. Heck, even the anime people basically are treated the same way too. It's just basically like, from what I've heard anyways, it's kind of like being treated, it's basically working in a sweatshop. Yes, this is basically the conditions basically both manga writers and animators, people who work on these animes basically suffer through a lot of the time. And also animes do not take breaks like American cartoons do between seasons. They actually run 52 weeks the entire year with no breaks. Yeah, but some people have said basically that the Japanese entertainment industry needs to change. I'm kind of in agreement with that, but I don't have much opinion on it because I don't live in Japan. Okay? But roughly, but this is pretty much the end of the Hunter x Hunter anime review. Well, parts anyways. The only time basically you'll see these video series pop up is basically in specials, where I mainly just talk about basically whatever chapter comes out for the Hunter x Hunter manga. You'll probably see the review video of this probably by Friday or Saturday. Depends how long it takes me to get through chapter 365, which is coming out on Thursday. Yes, which is roughly 2 days from now. So it'll probably go up either Friday or Saturday. So roughly part 4 is less on the parts. But starting with Friday, it's just specials, where I'm just reviewing the chapters of the manga. Okay? So that's really it for this episode. Stay tuned for more videos soon. I am going to do a special basically for Naruto where I'm going to talk basically about one of my final thoughts on the manga because I just finished the manga. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.